Welcome to Football Dialogue. On episode 2 today, we'll be reviewing the games that happened over Matchday 1. What a cracking number of games that we had. It was super, And we'll be closing today's episode by talking about our fantasy teams. And so let's get started. Starting with the first game, which was Liverpool and Bournemouth. What a cracking game that was, to be fair. It was what we call the actual kind of curtain raiser that we all expected as fans. It was a good start to the season, and we saw how Mo Salah held it on to the last minute to get his goal, and how Semenyo responded to the racism by banging in 2 goals. What a player that guy is. He's been a good player. We were surprised that no top club actually put a bid in for him. But it is what it is. It's just sometimes it's about luck. It's about being fortunate in the transfer market. And I don't know how come he's not in a big club this season, because he's had a good couple of seasons with Bournemouth, to be fair. But yeah, let's get on to it. So reviewing the game, Liverpool-Bournemouth, it was expected that Liverpool were going to slaughter Bournemouth, but that wasn't the case. They had to fight for their lives for them to be able to bag in all 3 points. And it was a good watch for the debutants, apart from Florian Wirtz. Oh, not a good watch, to be fair, because Frimpong was replaced before the 60th minute, and Kekestu as well did not have a really good start to the season. Florian Wirtz, for everyone, was not good enough, and you could see how he isn't worth that price tag, and how we all believe that he's going to struggle this season, except you're just jonesing, if you think he's not going to struggle this season. So Ekitike had a good game, but I think it was overhyped for him to be the man of the match. I don't understand why. It doesn't seem like to be the best player for Liverpool on the day. So I think I would have given the man of the match to Cody Gakpo. Yeah, that's my man of the match. But whatever his debut, a goal, an assist, yeah, I think obviously the stats is going to back you up for the man of the match award. So it is what it is. Liverpool, yeah, good game, but they didn't match the expectation. We expect them to have been able to put Bournemouth to the sword, but I think Liverpool might tend to struggle this season if they don't get a defensive midfielder in and get in Alexander Isak. Because if that is the case, if they get those 2 players, or even if it's just Isak, I think they are going to be gunning for the title. They are going to be the favorites for the title, in my own opinion. Yep. So for the next game, which is Villa-Newcastle, it was uninspiring. It was a mad game, to be fair. It was lackluster for most of the players from Aston Villa. It feels like they were still in pre-season. They were not up and running. They were sluggish. They just happened to run away with the luck by not conceding any goal, even if when they were a man down, they held on, and they got the results that actually they will be happy to go away with. And like I said, Aston Villa will struggle this season, and that's why during my managerial ranking for the season, I did not really rate Unai Emery this season. I believe he's going to struggle. Aston Villa being in the Europa League, and they are also not being able to get in players that they want due to PSR, and they've even sold players. They sold Ramsey to Newcastle the other day, 40 million. I think I do believe that they are going to struggle, except they can just find a way to stay fit, and then they might actually find themselves in the top 10 if their players can stay fit without injuries and stuff. Yeah, so next game, let me talk about the other team, Newcastle. Newcastle, they gave their all. They tried their best to get the 3 points, but it was never going to be the case with Aston Villa holding themselves down at home. They don't want to obviously annoy their fans by not playing so well and not getting any results. So it was a good one for Newcastle. At least they showed that they are ready for the season, And if it was a different team, they might have gotten a goal or two. Yeah, so good one for them, good one for them, good one for them. So next one on the list, we're looking at Brighton and Fulham. I really rate Brighton this season, but I actually did not even give a look into the Fulham team. They've kept their squad, they've kept the manager, and they are looking like the Burnley under Sean Dyche, where all the players understand what the manager demands, and they keep getting that 8th to 12th place finish in the league, not battling for relegation, not fighting for the European places. Yeah, so that's what Fulham is going to look like this season. They've got decent players anyway, but let's see what they can actually do in the transfer market before deadline. Yeah, so Fulham and Brighton, yeah, good game. Brighton got their goal, but they conceded late into the game, so unfortunate for them. Unfortunate for them. I still see them doing so well this season and getting into European positions for next year, for next season. Yeah, so Brighton, good team. They've kept their core. Their core is still in place. They haven't sold any notable player. I would say I'm not sure they sold any, but I know they haven't sold any notable player in their team. They've got their best player still there, Mitoma, and so he's used to the league already, and I think he's going to help them to be able to achieve something good this season. And next on the list, Tottenham, Burnley. Yeah, Tottenham actually showed their quality even after the loss to PSG on penalties, and they were able to bounce back ASAP against Burnley. However, Burnley, I think that will most likely struggle this season and will most likely be part of the whipping boys, as well as I think Leeds United, but I'm not too sure about Leeds United, to be fair, because I really do not watch them in the championship last season like I usually do for the top guys. I usually try to watch a couple of their games, but I didn't watch Leeds United. But I know they've kept their team, even though they relegated the other year. They didn't sell too many of their players. They kept some of the players like Pascal Struijk, and Ampadu is still there. Nonto, who is used to the Premier League, he's got pace, he's got everything. So I think they might not be too bad. But Leeds United, with their style of play, I think they might struggle again this season. So next one, Brentford. I think Brentford will struggle. So those are the three teams that I know will be the whipping boys this season. So Tottenham, good showing, good outing for them at home to Burnley. Kudus getting the assist, and Richarlison getting his goals, which is going to help to boost his confidence. He's been a great player, but he's had struggles with injuries and form, and we know he's raw. He's got talent, and he just needs to find some form again, and he'll be back to being in the spotlight. So Richarlison, Kudus is going to improve their team, and if Eze gets to Tottenham, it's going to be a worry for the top clubs, because Tottenham will be pushing for something this season, and they are going to give the big boys headache if they can keep fit. That's the only issue that they've had, having to keep their best players fit, in the likes of Van der Ven, in the likes of Cuti Romero as well, their midfield core too as well, Bentancur. They struggle to stay fit. Maddison is injured now, so hopefully this season will be a different thing for them. I'm talking from a neutral perspective. I'm a Chelsea fan. If they get injuries, it's anything that is going to be negative for our opposition is what we're happy about. So I'm just talking from a neutral perspective. So hopefully they keep their team fit anyways. So yeah, Kudus is going to get things done for Tottenham this season. He's going to be their star boy, and he's being managed by someone who knows the league, who understands oppositions in the league, in Thomas Frank, and who does not die by a particular philosophy, unlike the previous manager they've had in Ange Postecoglou. So yeah, Spurs, I really see them doing okay this season from what they've done last season. So like I still put them in the 7th place finish. I still put them there. But things might change when Eze comes. They will be going for something if they can stay fit, like I've said. So next on the list, we have Sunderland and West Ham. Yeah, the results was I expected Sunderland to win their first game at home. They signed players. It shows ambition. It shows intent that they actually want to compete with the big boys, in the Prem. Yeah. So and they really had a good start. They started off well by getting a couple of goals against West Ham side. West Ham side, I believe, are going to struggle. I think West Ham too are going to be part of the whipping boys this season because they've got a poor manager in Graham Potter. Yeah. So West Ham are struggling. They are going to struggle, and they are already struggling after selling their best player in Kudus by not identifying him as the best player, by making him play in a position that is not natural to him, that they cannot get the best out of him just so they can play Bowen on the left. And they've sold him for a very poor price. It's a very low valuation of him, which shows that they really do not know what they have, and they've lost him, and they are going to pay for it this season for sure. They are going to pay for it this season. So West Ham not really good. So Sunderland, good result expectedly, and good start for them. So hopefully they can continue in this form. They've got actually experienced player and players that understand the league too as well to help them march on as a team. So Sunderland, yeah, they're going to be right up there. I told you, competing for European position. I already said this in the first episode. Yeah, so Wolves, Manchester City, last game of on Saturday. Yeah, it was a good watch, but I think people are moving ahead of themselves by overrating Manchester City. However, there's something that I identified in Man City in their 4-0 win is that Pep Guardiola has allowed the team to actually operate in the way that they think they can do because they've got players who have got flair, and he's flexible now. Pep Guardiola seems to be flexible, allowing them to express themselves in the way that they can, in the likes of Nori, Reinders, and Ryan Cherky. Yeah, so if he allows the team to do what they think that they can do without making them stick to a particular style of play in all the games that they play, then I think they are going to come good this season if they can get Rodri fit. But if that's the case, they are going to be right up there competing for the title, and it's going to be a force race again between Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal. But I still put Chelsea ahead of everybody anyways, to be fair. I know we've got a decent team. The only person holding us back is the manager, to be fair. So, yeah, Man City, good one. Alan got 2 goals, great for him, which is going to help him to have that good feel that, okay, this can be the season where he gets his golden boot back again. So Reinders, decent player, I know. He's got towering height, like I've always said. He's got the technique. He's got the energy for the Premier League. He's unfazed by whatever team that he's going to face. If you look at his face, he's someone who looks scary. He should have been in the battleground, and he should be part of an army. That guy, I don't know how could have been a footballer. He's fierce. He looks fierce. So, and you can see that in the way that he plays. He's fearless, you know. So yeah, Reinders is going to be, I think, the most. What do I want to say? The most inspiring signing this season is going to be the star signing of the season. Yeah. So yeah, that's City for me. City and Wolves. Wolverhampton, they've sold the best player in Cunha, and I think they haven't replaced him yet, and they haven't signed so many players to strengthen their squad. They struggled at the start of last season until they clicked again, and they were able to fight to get things done before the end of the season. Yeah, so they've lost Cunha, but the manager is still there, and I know they've got a good manager too in Vitor Pereira. So hopefully he can cook something up for them to help them stay afloat in the league. Yeah, so they'll just be floating in the league anyway. Yeah. So next on the list, we've got Chelsea and Crystal Palace. What a poor game that was yesterday. What a poor game that was yesterday. It wasn't exciting at all for us fans, especially the first half. The second half, yeah, it kept us on our feet. Some moments in the game where, especially when Esteval came in, yeah, everyone was excited to see what he can bring, and you can see him dazzling in the right flank as expected. And the guy is unfazed, you know, he's fearless too as well. He just attacks any space that he's got attack any player that is in front of him, and you see him trying to get something out. But I think the anxiety pushed him not to get a goal yesterday. He should have gotten on the score sheet yesterday, give us the winning goal. But it is what it is. Sometimes it doesn't always happen. So I think it is what it is. Yeah, in subsequent games they will crack on with wins. Yeah, so Crystal Palace were a decent side, and they've got a great manager that I think I underrated this season. I know he's a good manager, but I didn't rank him high because I think Crystal Palace are in Europe and they are going to struggle this season. But it seems he's a manager that knows what he's doing. But now that they are going to be losing Eze, yeah, that means they are losing their best player. I really want to see what he can do in the absence of Eze, because it's going to be really, really difficult if they cannot get somebody to replace him before the end of the transfer window. So Crystal Palace, good side, proper side. They've won. They've not lost any games. I think how many games I saw that somewhere, maybe about 14 games. They haven't lost any, and they've played decent side away from home, and they haven't lost. So it shows you the grit in the team. It shows you that they are actually properly drilled by a manager that knows what he's doing. He's won things in the past, and he keeps winning even with Crystal Palace, and they are in Conference League, not Europa League per se. So I think managing the squad will be different from what they've done in the past. Yeah, so we'll see how. That's why I don't rank them in my top 10, because I believe they will struggle, because it's the first taste of having to play more than a game in the week. Yeah, so let's see how they get on with that. But for now, I still keep them where I've kept them outside of the top 10. So, and Glasner not being rated that much this season, because most of the time is what you achieve with your club that keeps you on the eye. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for Palace. And Chelsea. Poor performance. Maresca is not been great for us. He's just been lucky that he's got a good squad, and not there's not many managers in the world that will struggle with the squad that we've got. We've got good players, but we just need the right manager to make them click. And this guy keeps doing these inverting gimmicks that he hasn't stopped yet. I don't think. Why will you keep inverting a player every game that you play against every team? Teams have got different style. You have to read into your position, understand how they play, and see how you can attack their weaknesses. But that's not the case. He's just Crystal Palace are the side that are obviously going to prepare for us, because we are the world champions, and Crystal Palace actually know they are coming to Stamford Bridge, and if they don't organize themselves well, they'll be put to the sword. So they organized themselves where they had a game plan and they executed it well. You could see, even while I was in the game, I couldn't see any space on the field while we were playing against Crystal Palace. It was a struggle for all of our players, apart from a few in the likes of Caicedo still does what he does. Achimpong was super. Chalobah was great. Rhys James struggled in some part of the game, but he adapted again into the game. Cucurella is always there, always doing his thing. So the only player that I think was the odd one out in our team, he was totally off it. It was Enzo Fernandez, and this is a player that I don't understand why he keeps starting for the team, because he's the inviting Cucurella to play midfield is taking responsibility for Enzo Fernandez. Cucurella is assuming the role of Enzo Fernandez when he's in the midfield by ensuring that we have that we've closed that space by pairing with Caicedo in the midfield and allowing Enzo to just roam about the pitch. And Enzo has not got that energy. He's sluggish. Sometimes his decision making is, for a player who has won so many things, who has played in good group, in good squad, he shouldn't be doing what I think. Maybe I don't want to dig deep into that, but I think maybe he hasn't picked this season. But Enzo Fernandez is somebody that I would think, as from my own perspective, if a bid coming right now in excess of £80 million, we need to cash in and find some other player that we have so many decent defensive midfielder and central midfielder out there that we can also sign, because Lavia is prone to injury and we don't know if he can help us to stabilize our midfield. We've got Andre Santos, who we don't want to just throw him to burnout, because he's still trying to understand the squad, understand his teammates, how they play, and how we can help the team. Yeah, so I don't want to just put him in there and allow him to struggle. So Kopama and Kukurela, we're assuming the responsibility of Enzo. Kukurela assuming the defensive responsibility for Enzo by inverting into the midfield, and Kopama having the attacking responsibility of Enzo, because Enzo should connect our defense to the attack, but he's not doing that. And we have Kopama trying to connecting the defense to the attack by dropping deep and trying. And you can see Kopama had no space in mid in up front, because Crystal Palace had a game plan and they wanted to limit him, because they know he's the threatening part that we've in our team. He plays in a position that they deem as threatening to them. So they ensure that they closed any space that Kopama can operating in the attack, and Kopama had to be dropping deep. And that was why you could see that he didn't have a great game yesterday. So Maresca, I think he needs to make a change to his team. And I hear Chelsea fans like Don in Chelsea Fan TV talking about how Cucurella will be, how Colwill rather is important. Yeah, I understand that it's important, but if you said we need him because he gives that line-breaking passes, I don't think that's enough reason for you to say we are missing a defender. That's a role that our midfielder should be doing. If we've lost a defender, then obviously there should be changes to be made by the manager to ensure that somebody is carrying out that role that you think Colwill can execute. Colwill cannot be a better passer than all our midfielders. If that's the case, then they should sell the whole midfield then. Because why should we rate Colwill outside of his defensive actions and rate his line-breaking pass, his line-breaking pass actions? No, we've got midfielders that should be doing that in that regard. But people talk about how the team play transition from defense to attack, and we need. But Tosin can do all these passes here. I think he even does it better than Colwill. It's just that Colwill is more aggressive defensively. But Tosin was injured too as well. There should always be solutions to all these things. It's not a big deal. You just change the dynamics of the team, the way that they operate, and your problem is solved. So next one on the list, we've got Nottingham Forest and Brentford. I didn't watch the game because obviously I was watching the Chelsea game. I haven't seen any highlights yet even. So, but I had they smashed Brentford as expected, because Brentford have lost so many players and they've got a new manager in too. So too many things have changed in the team. So it was expected that they would win at Forest, yeah, in which they did. Good game. So Chris Wood getting 2 goals. Forest are in Europa League. They are going to struggle this season for sure. I know that. This is the Premier League. It's a marathon. We can't judge them based on what they've done in the first game. But when the league gets going, from the 10th game onwards, you will see where people will actually sit come the end of the season. Yeah, so next on the list, Man U Arsenal. There's not much to talk about that because I didn't watch the game too as well. I was angry based on what happened in our game, so I only watched some part of the second half. But yeah, like I expected, Gyökeres, the striker, they said no shot on target. Hey, I told you guys, I said Gyökeres is not it, man. But let's see. Well, it's just one game, so we'll see in subsequent game. I for sure know Gyökeres is going to struggle this season. He can't be the reason why Arsenal is going to bag the title this season. But that was why they signed him, to give them the league, the title. So let's see how that is going to play out. So Arsenal, yeah, Arteta, I still say is a good manager. They will be right up there competing for the league, but I think that will not match the expectation of the fans, because after the signing of Gyökeres, they are expected to win the league. They have to win the league. So let's see how that's going to pan out. Yeah. So Arsenal, not the best of games for them. Even though they won, they got the 3 point. But that's what matters in games like this, because anytime Manchester United come up against big teams, they tend to. But they haven't played the way they play this. They played against Arsenal in a long time against big team, dominating the ball, pushing them back, holding down their midfield, bamboozling the likes of Rice and Zubimendi, bypassing everything that they've got in their midfield and just overloading Raya, Raya had to make a huge amount of saves, and that's shocking. I never expected that anyways from Man United in their first game. But I know it's something that's going to happen when those three guys click, Bruno, Cunha, and Mbomo. You're talking about people that know the Premier League so well, and these guys got a huge amount of goals last season. But Amorim is going to be the killer. He's going to kill the team. He's going to kill the team the way that he has set the team up, the pattern of play. There was a pattern of play from what I've heard from their fans, but I know it's against a big team. When they meet a small team that does low block, let's see how they play. And if you are going to be playing all these small teams and you're doing the three at the back against them, let's see how that's going to work out. So I still think Manchester United will keep their place in 8 this season. Amorim being their undoing. Yeah. So next on the list. Okay, that's the last game for yesterday. Next on the list, Everton Leeds playing today. Right now, they're playing right now, so I don't know. I think Everton is going to win, but it could be the other way because I don't really know much about Leeds United anyways. Like I said, I didn't watch them during the championship, but I think my FPL team says otherwise because I've got Pickford in and I've got Njaya in, so I'm just playing the risk of putting those players in. Hopefully they can get me points in my fantasy team. Yeah, and that's it for the Premier League Game Week 1 review. So exciting first game week, and we're expecting a much more exciting game week 2 after what we've seen this game week. And starting with Friday, Chelsea West Ham. Yeah, I can't wait to watch how my players are going to react against West Ham. So hopefully everything works out well for us and we get 3 points and we start our season. Yep. So that's it, guys, for today. Like we all always say, follow, subscribe, click on the notifications, and get engaged. I want to see you in the comments to hear your opinions about the games. All right. See you guys on the next one. Ciao for now. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.